Did you get to stay with your family, or did you hear about any families that got split up?
Our family was not split up. Um, we went into camp together. Where we start to split up is when they go off to war. Um, so our, and what my oldest brother, I didn't tell you about my oldest brother. He would have been a great soldier because he knew the Japanese language because he was raised in Japan. He's what we call a kibe. A kibe, K-I-B-E-I. Kibe is a Japanese American, okay, American born, but educated in Japan. He he would have been a great soldier, but he got tuberculosis in camp. We had a lot of communicable diseases, and measles, mumps, TB was one of them. There were in our camp alone, about 100, over 150 got tuberculosis. And so he's going to be sent to a sanitarium, so he won't be able to serve in the war. So I don't see him until after the war, when he's recovered.
So you were originally sent to Salinas and then on to Arizona.
Mm.
How were you sent there? Was it like trains? Or?
It was a train, okay. There were over 3,600 of us in the Salinas Assembly Center. Now we didn't stay there very long, we stayed there about 3 months. The train came to pick up 500 at a time, 500 people at a time. So 3,600, well, that's going to take a week. Okay, so we went by train, and these were old, very old trains. Okay, rickety old trains that they brought out of the storage. Anyway, so we went to post in Arizona. The last train, the very last train, pulled out on the 4th of July, 1942. And that's when Salinas Assembly Center closed.
When you got to the camps, what were the conditions like? Like, was there furniture there for you, or well, there's probably furniture, but what did they have and what didn't they have that they should have had?
When we got there, okay, we got off the train at Parker, Arizona. And Parker is not too far from Havasu City. It's a vacation spot now. But it was extremely hot. Half the group had heat stroke because we weren't used to that kind of climate. Now, the internees from places like Sacramento, Lodi, Fresno, they were used to the heat, so they could take it a lot better than we could. So we were given salt tablets. They were in the shape of the round aspirin, okay, and you took maybe 3 of those, okay, and drank water with it, but the water was rust colored because and it smelled bad. When we took the salt tablets, we got sick because it was in concentrated form. So we learned later that you dissolve the salt first. It's either in the water or you stick it in your tongue and let it melt completely, and then you drink it. Then it was better. But it was so hot. People suffered from the heat. And it's a dry heat. It's not, like in Alabama where it's muggy. It was dry heat.
Did conditions improve as time went on, or?
We had our own police station. We had our own fire department. We had our own chicken farm. We had our own pig farm. We grew vegetables. We brought in water from the Colorado River, which was 3 miles away. And we planted, we made fish ponds. We made gardens. That was to hold the dust down. Sometime later, the government laid asphalt on the road for the trucks, and whenever they laid fresh asphalt, for us kids that was great because we could take some of the asphalt and chew it like chewing gum. Okay, the gravel you kind of spit out, but chewing gum was hard to get during the war. So we're going to by ourselves. We have our own leaders, and we decide, you know, we're going to have to make the best of a very bad situation. So people cooperated. And at first the food was so bad. What is it that Asians like to eat? Is it meat and potatoes? No. It's what? Rice, right? And so they didn't even serve us rice at first. They were giving us bread and meat and potatoes. The meat, okay, now meat is going to be rationed during the war. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Fish was not. Okay, that's why this Monterey sardine factory was going big guns. But one of the things, and I could still smell this, okay, one of the worst meats that you can't even buy it because it's so bad, nobody's going to buy it. It's mutton. Mutton is like dead, decaying lamb, old lamb, anyway. And they're feeding us something like that. So, and some kitchens were really, they didn't have any real cooks. Our block, we had professional chefs from Los Angeles, and they knew how to cook. But the next block, 219, they didn't know how to put food together. So anyway, we had some hunger strikes because they weren't feeding us rice and what we needed. And food is really important because if you don't have the digestive enzymes for a particular food, you can't break it down and get the nutritional values out of it. There's cases of where they gave children in the jungles of New Guinea, powdered cow milk. Well, they don't have the enzymes to break down the food. You could, starve with a full stomach. So we had some hunger strikes. Finally convinced the authorities, give us the food we want, that we need. So more rice is going to be on the plate.
As far as education goes, was there any or?
Education was sadly neglected. The Army didn't really provide for it. The War Authority didn't really provide for it. It was not high on the list of priorities. So volunteers offered to become teachers. Usually a junior college student who had, might teach a class in 8th grade class. Finally, California, our camp in Arizona, California said, they're our children. So they sent us surplus books, which, we really appreciated. One guy, John Shigemoto of Watsonville, he looked at this one book. He was in the 8th grade, and he says, oh, wow, this is from E.A. Hall. His sister had gone to E.A. Hall, his older sister. And when he opened up where it says issue 2, it was issue 2, his sister. And he was so excited about that. We didn't have books, paper, pencils. Children didn't have games, toys, qualified teachers. Chemistry lab was the laundry room, and all you learned was H2O was water. It was important to get the youngsters out of camp to real schools in the Midwest and the East. And there's a group of, many of them were Quakers, American Friends, who organized a committee to get our kids out and into homes where they could be houseboy or maids or whatever, and and finish high school or go to a college or university. But that's going to be in the Midwest, and places like Nebraska, Michigan, Ohio. A lot of those people are not going to be coming back to California. So one of the things that happens as a result is the Japanese American population is going to be more diverse. They're going to be scattered. But education was tremendously important. School teachers were among those who wrote letters of recommendations. You know, you can't get into a university college unless, you know, you have to have somebody speaking up for you. So, and finding places to live, and maybe a job.